We can also always use conditional formatting to gain a quick overview of a pivot table. In that case, we shouldn't select the grand totals, just the numbers inside the table, and then Home, Conditional Formatting, Color Scales, and here it is, the biggest numbers are in green. There's also something called, so for instance this Frodo Tallinn number is the greenest one. And there's also a pivot chart. We can click inside, and up here we have a part of ribbon which points us to a pivot chart, and here it is. We create it out of the most usual columns, and here we see that that now across all the cities, across all the computer brands, all the numbers are graphically shown. Next, let's go to another table, this jobs table, and we construct a pivot chart based on that. Sorry, pivot table based on that. And we at first are going to check different departments, and here it is. It lists the departments, and for each department we're interested in salaries, so it's sum of salary, and we can see, for instance, that production department has the biggest salary, but we could venture a guess that production really has a lower average salary than finance, but just that finance has less workers. We'll look into that later on. Now let's turn on sex as well, and let's put sex again. Sex is in the wrong place. It's on rows down here, but whereas it should be on columns. So we click and drag it to columns, and now we see across sexes the total salary fund. So what we want to turn it into is average. So let's do right click on sum of salary and value field settings. Right click on sum of salary and value field settings. And now average. Okay, let's do away with those comma places again with Control 1, number and number of decimal places. And now we will see that the highest average is actually in finance, and that production, well, has lower average than some other places even still. Now let's look at the picture across sexes. So it's easier again to select them and paint it in color. And as we see, usually men get a bigger salary. The only place which has a greener value for women is finance. So we can really think of, as usually in our country, this regretful bias towards men's salaries prevails. We can guess that there might be some things behind this unusual state of affairs in the finance department. So let's click on this 17,000. We can see that there are a lot of women there. Actually, we can go back and at once click on the grand total for finance. So we see there's one man working there, and as we could have guessed that perhaps the CFO is a woman, and that's why the average salary is for women. It's actually, in this case, in such a way that that there's only one man working there. He has a usual salary, and the rest of them, including people who are higher up in the hierarchy are all women. So that's the reason why this average salary is different from other departments. Here we've created another pivot table from the employees table, and we are investigating how the age influences salary. We've selected age and salary, and again a mistake has been made, namely as age and salary are both ordinary numbers, they are placed in data area. We have to take age and click and drag it to rows, and still the picture is not perfect, namely almost everyone has a different age. So we have to somehow group the ages. And here we can right click on the age, and as we see, a number of options appear here as well. Sorting, filtering, there is this value field settings, but we will select group. We have to select group with only one cell selected. If we select many and group them, then it doesn't do the right thing. And we now will group it together from 15 to 74 years in groups of 10 years. And here it is. This is the salary by ages. We have to use average, so let's right click on sum of salary and do value field settings and average, and OK. We also need to do away with the comma places, so number, decimal places too, because just more comma places would actually contain no information whatsoever. Next up is we have to picture this graphically, or visually, so it's conditional formatting again. And we can see that the highest salary is for the age group of 35 to 44, which is really confirmed by the sociological studies, because at this age and sex group people are at their most active selves, and of course some people are at the top of the hierarchies in the 60s and 70s as well, but on the average the salary should be the highest in that age group. We can switch on the sexes as well, put the sexes in columns, and now let's say that we don't want the grand total in here, so we can just switch it off altogether. So we right click on grand total, and again we have to drill down somewhere deep. We now select pivot table options and select totals and filters, so that's where it's hidden, and we take away grand total for rows. Now we're only with different sexes and different salaries. We can now investigate something that's called min-max and max-min. Namely, we are going to look at the minimum salary for each age and sex group, and we will see who has the highest minimum salary. So that's the min-max. Let's do it like this. Instead of average salary, let's click on value field settings, and let's do minimum salary. Here it is. Here's the minimum salary. And now the highest minimum salary, well, here it's perhaps good to not again look across the sexes. Let's turn sex off, so that we have this minimum salary for just all the people in this age group. And we see that somehow, and this seems to really be weird in this data set, because somehow no one in the age group 15-24 has a salary that's lower than 8,500, and they have the highest min-max. This is a bit weird. It might be natural that the lowest min-max is for 65 to 74, because many people who are retired then have to work for really low salaries to just add to their pension funds. So this is natural. And now let's turn to max-min. So we're looking now for value field settings maximum of salary, and for instance the lowest maximum salary. I mean, in the age sex group 15-24, there is no one who has a salary more than 9,800.